guys! Welcome back to Let's Play Xenosaga Episode 3. Last time, we had to hear this voice talk over my intro and my outro, and now it's going to talk even more often than it did before! Yay! Yeah, kind of irritating, but regardless, we have our mechs back at long last, even if we're still missing Asher.
Have been stolen.
Not all of them, just 3.
Possible. How?
What's the commotion?
Somebody stole one. Oh, another familiar face.
Someone has infiltrated the facility and stolen 3 vessels of Anima.
Vessels of Anima? Is it Federation soldiers?
Well, there's one.
We don't know. The enemy moved the vessels onto unknown aims and are currently on the run.
They moved vessels of Anima into Ames craft? So they've completed the ES before we did?
What shall we do?
Prepare the Interstellar Strategic Integrated Weapons System.
That's a long name.
I said get ready to launch. Is there a problem?
It's still in testing phase. It's too risky to use in real combat.
I don't care. Capture those aims at any cost.
They are currently ESs, no longer aims, except for, of course, Asher. Though I don't believe they changed that in the, it's still ES Asher in the menu, but... Okay. Hello. Let's see here. What do we got? We have a door that I can't get in. Guess we're gonna have to come back here later. Yeah. Basically, they're telling you you're gonna need to come back in the ES or in the EVS later. Now, let's go formation. Let's get you out of there. Your equipment, for the most part, isn't a big deal. Just double check to make sure we don't have any new things to equip on here. I got a 56. Let's give that to... Oh, let's give it to Dino. Why not? Doesn't really matter. And I'll give you the 43, even though that doesn't matter. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And we're going to have some more battles to deal with. Let's see, we've got Marines and Cannon Dudes, and no weaknesses at all. So, yeah, as you can see, any attacks don't raise his Anima level. So it's kind of not, well, kind of, it is completely not a good idea to level up at this point in time, because it's just going to be ineffective. So let's go for one of those, and a couple of those. Yeah, not too much to worry about at this point. In fact, we're going to charge with you. I'm going to try and balance out building up my animal levels, because I'm not really going to use them at this point. You don't need to do anything. And we'll just go and put a couple of them here. There we go. Now, they are at level 1, but as you can see, they're no longer glowing the same color they used to. Well, that's because we can actually use level 2 now, which means it takes longer to build them up. And just blow these things up on the way by. Alright, I just took care of the other 2 enemies that were there, and I did play around with my equipment a little bit because I forgot that I had this guy here, the 3G. And what I did is I set up Sensor, which was already on there before, and Treasure 1, just so I can get better drops. The enemies here start to drop half repairs if you do, so I would recommend that. Go. Blow up all that stuff. And we're going to fight some more guys in this room. Okay, I took care of all the enemies in the screen here, and even though you can't see it anymore, there is an item in there from all the things that I blew up off screen, since it was faster that way. And yeah, so let's move on a little forward. You want to cut up here soon, hit save point, and the shop. I'm going to go find out what I need to buy, and I will see you in a moment. Okay, we're back. Now, buying items. The one thing that you can get as far as items go is the half repairs. You should get a decent amount by just fighting enemies, so I wouldn't worry about that. And you should be good for the upcoming boss, so I really wouldn't bother buying them here. What I would do is, okay, so there's nothing new there, is check out these, because, yeah, there are a lot of new things. Now, buying items or equipment for your mechs is confusing as all hell, because there's usually too many items. As you can see, these are secondary weapons. They go on your secondary hand. And there are multiples for the same people with slight variations. So I'm going to go over what my choices are. And you can choose to either follow that or go your own path. That's entirely up to you. So first of all, the main weapons. Usually there's only one, so we want that guy, we want that guy, and here, just take a look at the details in the bottom left there. So this is Fire Elemental, and that's Physical. As you can see, they're both for the Reuben, and they have completely different, like as far as strength goes, they're pretty much the same, but as far as energy that we use, this is 410, and that's 250. They're both two-handed. I think Reuben only ever has two-handed weapons, but they both have different uses because enemies are weak to different elements. Now, most of the time, I would go with the fire ones, and right now that only matters because I'm actually going to use him, but no. I'll buy both of them, but normally you would, normally for a mech that you're going to continue to use, like an Asher or a Zebulon or a Dina, then you would just buy most of them as long as they don't overlap. You want, like, if they offer you one fire and one physical, get one of each and then use them in different situations. In this case, I will end up buying both, though chances are I'll only use the physical one because it just does a lot of damage. Now here, you can see these first two are both physically based, and they're around the same. This one's a little more balanced, and it's got a rapid rate that's a little higher. Now the rapid rate here, I believe, just equates to the team value that you see in your menu and in battle. So I would go with the one that has the higher one, since it really doesn't matter. The energy requirements is negligible all around. The one thing to note is with a 56 engine, which we can get here, I think with this one you could use it 3 times in a round, but that's not a big deal. So we're just going to get the one. Here we have 2 for Zebulon, both lightning elemental, and they both have different statuses. So since there's different statuses, I will get both. Though chances are I'm going to use the one that's mind down over balance down, since it's just more useful for me. Now there's 3 of them here for the Dina, and that's rather unfortunate because they're all beam elemental. And if you want to go with the team value to get a higher chance of getting multiple hits, go with the Phalanx because it's got a rapid of 16. The one I'm going to go for has Soul Down because I think the status is more important, so that's what I'm going to go for. Since they're all beam, it doesn't really matter which one you go for. I wouldn't go for the Volans because it just doesn't. It's basically a middle ground with no added benefits. That's better chance of hitting more times. That's got a status effect, so I'm going with the status effect myself. So I'm not going to use the Asher because I can't. So I'm not going to buy that. Next time I need to use them, I'll be able to buy better armor for him, more HP. We finally get to upgrade Zebulon's HP at long last. And here we've got a new one for you. Now do note the last 2 are both for the Reuben. I'm just going to go for the better one, obviously. And then we're going to buy, not 11, 2 of those. And as you can see by the amount of money that I've spent, we're pretty, and you need to buy 2 of those as well. Yeah, so yeah, by the amount of money I've spent already, we've just used up all the money we earned by going through the last dungeon. So if we didn't get that extra money, we would have to sell a bunch of stuff in order to afford these. These are basically a requirement for the rest of the bosses in the game. I will go into why. And these ones I'm going to get as well, since I have the money for them, and actually I think I get one. So I'll just buy 2. I'm pretty sure I get one of those later on. but I'll just buy 2 for now. The treasure one, we already have one of. We don't need those. Kind of useless. Sensor, that's fine. And we don't need those anymore. But yeah, we've got all the items. I will equip them off screen. There's the save. Let's blow up this. Boom. And what do we get for that one? Half repair. Nice. So I'm going to equip all that stuff and switch up my party, and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, we're back. Since we just looked at them, I'm not going to show you in detail what each of them are. I'm just going to go on the screen. Got that. Asher doesn't matter. Dina's got that. And Ruben's got that. And as far as discs go, we have treasure on you just until we get to the boss. And everyone else has D-kill. I will go into what E-Revenge actually does in a moment. And counter, because I just happen to have one. You don't have that because I only had one. Let's show off a battle. Now that we're all powered up, do note in the in previous battles I used Zebulin's Anima level 2. Now we have Dawning Moon, which should be able to one-shot enemies. As you can see, Ruben, even though I'm not using him, it's not bad. Ruben is very, very good, actually. So I would recommend using him if, you know, you actually want to do lots of damage. Might be useful for bosses. And then the only downside is you can't actually switch out in the middle of battle with your mechs. It's rather unfortunate. If you could, I would make more use of him to do more damage in boss fights and then swap him out. I just want to make sure I get the most experience I can. So it's kind of unfortunate that way. You are just going to charge since you're still full. And then you try the new Lindworm. And so yeah, we can do 3 attacks now. So that will help. Build up our gauge a lot faster that way. As you can see, our HP is a little low because I got to run over the save point again, even though I probably already did that. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but oh well. Build up and just kind of take a look. Now, Enemy Revenge and Enemy Counter, the 2 status effects we just got stuff for. There's some more half repairs. Let's go heal there. Let's take a look here if we can see them in here. Let's see, details. Nullifies enemy's revenge. Basically, and counterattack. So, what counter is in this game is if an enemy, or if you miss the enemy, they can perform a counter. And the same goes, of course, for your characters. Of course, in your character's case, you have to have a specific skill learned in order to do this at all. Revenge is basically a counterattack, but they don't miss. So if you land an attack on the enemy, they have a chance of enacting revenge, which is basically a counterattack that hits you. So in pretty much every boss fight going forward, you want to make sure that you have at least D-kill, and if not D-kill R, and if not that, then both. Chances are you're not going to miss as much, so this is far more important because you're going to hit more often than you're going to miss, at least at this point. Later on, it'll become more important to have both on, but it saves you so much damage that it's just not even funny. Basically, you put this on and the difficulty doesn't really increase. It's just kind of gradual. At this point in the game, the enemies, normal enemies, are going to start to do that to you and just enact revenge when you hit them if you don't one-shot them. So kind of my strategy around it is for boss fights, since I can't one-shot them, make sure I have those on there. Otherwise, I'm going to go after the abilities such as this one that cost a lot of energy, but pretty much guarantee me to one-shot enemies. And what that does is it allows me to build up my anima gauge at a reasonable rate, but it avoids being hit by counters, so I don't have to have those on there. And I'll end up putting on things that'll get me more items, more gold, etc. Throughout. So that's basically my strategy going forward as far as equiption goes. But there's some more items here, so let's blow up all this stuff. Cleanser. Anything in here? Well, there's another battle. We might as well show this one off. Sure, might as well completely overkill that one, do lots of damage there. And basically go with this strategy for pretty much everyone. Should allow you to get 3 hits in, which is nice. And as you can see, now we don't glow green or blue or teal or whatever that color is until we hit our max level, which in this case is 2. We can unlock animal level 2. I'm not going to do that in this fight. I'll probably do it in the next fight, but that's just kind of the idea. So let's make sure we can build up everyone's gauge here reasonably quickly. So keeping you guarded, and you can attack the cannon. Almost fill you up there. And with that, as you get to level 2 anima levels, you'll notice your gauge fills up a lot slower, which again is kind of just part and parcel to moving through the game, but it's kind of annoying at times, so just kind of be aware of that. And we got 4 of them here. Unfortunately, let's see, let's hit you with some missiles, and that should get you to full. So on your next turn, I should be able to do that. So let's just do a weak attack here. And you can charge, and I should have just... That'll work. Let's show off some of the new abilities that we have access to. X-Buster! Yeah! As you can see, shit tons of damage. Yeah, basically, as soon as you enact those, you're pretty much guaranteed to win any normal fight that you're in, which is pretty much the purpose of them, is to gain lots of points, lots of money, really, really quickly. Now, let's see here. Let's target you. 1. And Ruben, let's take a look at yours, since I'm actually using you. Hits everyone with lightning damage. There we go. Lots of damage. Of course, when you hit multiple enemies in the game, the total there isn't the amount of damage you did to each of them, it's the amount of damage you did to all of them combined. So you have to do some math if you want to try and figure it out. I don't think we can do anything with those. So let's head on up here. There's a few different paths. I can't remember exactly where each of them lead. But you gotta blow them up. And sometimes they lead to battle, sometimes they lead to items. This one leads to dead end. That's the other thing it leads to. Blow up that one. And blow up this one. Okay. Take care of that enemy. Head up here, get the revive, backtrack. Of course, after fighting that battle, I just went and figured out exactly where all the stuff is, so I'm no longer confused. Okay, I just cut out that battle, because I believe... Yes, this is the one I actually want to be in. So let's just throw a couple of missiles at you. Don't kill him. Why do you have to do this to me? Every time I want to go and kill enemies in mass with an all attack, somebody has to join in and make my life more difficult. Here's Arid Rain. Was hoping to get all 5 of them, but I guess that'll work. There we go. And we don't need to be there yet. We want to actually head over here. When I was testing, that was the battle that had 5 enemies, when most of them had like 3 or 4. And after that battle, just come up here, get an all repair. As you might guess, that restores all HP to all mechs. Very good item. I think later on we can buy that. It's kind of cheap. I believe this is just a dead end. Yes, it is. I don't think we can go down that way. So this way here is the way forward. That leads to a cutscene. I highly recommend you save first. In fact, I'm going to go back and do that. But that's pretty much all the time we have for this one. I know I didn't get very far in terms of progress, but I did want to go over some of the new features of the game that actually start to be important now. I wish this person would shut up, but anyway, that's all for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.